Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you doing this fine Sunday evening?
Oh, fine. Thank you.
Oh, man, it's been a while since we've done a show. It's been a while. There's a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. I mean, last weekend there were, I feel like, top tier teams in college football falling off, getting knocked off by, underdogs left and right, which was fun. It was entertaining to watch. There's been our first firing in the NFL, first head coach fired who got the axe. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the startup of the NHL season. There's some other things that we're going to sprinkle in that's been happening the last few weeks that we haven't had a chance to cover because this is the first time we've done a show in I think like 3 weeks. So there's a lot that we have to cover here today. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is an all sports podcast that takes place every single Sunday around that 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time frame. And if you're new to the channel and you like the content that we provide, there's a few things that I encourage that you do. I encourage you to subscribe on YouTube, right? So you don't miss out on any further episodes. And I encourage that you hit the like button. If you hit the like button, well, it's myself, Grumpy, and the magnificent Son X when he shows up. It lets him know that, that you like the content that we produce. And also, apparently it helps the algorithm. Apparently it gets this podcast out to the masses if you hit that like button. But I figured, since there's a lot to cover here, Grump, I don't know where to start. I mean, like we lost, right? Like we're smack dab in the middle of the ALCS and the NLCS are going to be starting up. So for those unfamiliar, the World Series, right? They've got 4 teams remaining in the World Series to see who wins the pennant. We've got the starting of the NHL. We've got some big college matchups that we'll talk about here. That's some meat and potatoes there. But I think maybe it's good to talk about, maybe to start this off, Pete Rose, Grumpy Old Man, passed. A legend of the game, one of the best hitters in the history of baseball, passes away, Grumpy.
The all-time hits leader. All-time hits leader.
Yes, all-time hits leader. Passed away at, I think it was like 80, was it like 83, 84 years old, something like that?
83 years old, I believe.
Now, Grumpy, very notorious for his record always was great as a player. He's one of the guys who is not included in the Hall of Fame because of potentially this betting scandal when he was a manager at the time period. But he's always been left out of the Hall of Fame picture. Do you think this makes any sort of change to this? Do you think, they were waiting for him to pass before they put him in the Hall of Fame? Or, do you think anything's going to change after Pete Rose's passing?
I think eventually he'll get in the Hall of Fame. I didn't think they wanted to give him the honor while he was alive. I think eventually he will. I just find it laughable, all the stuff that you hear about it. Oh, he had a complicated, legacy. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm just talking about the guy as a baseball player. I don't give a stuff. I could care less about the other stuff, honestly. I care less. And I just find it hypocritical, honestly, where you see Major League Baseball and every sport is in bed with gambling now. Every single one.
Yes.
They make big money off of gambling. And to say that they don't think anyone else is doing that is just not true. Sorry. Just not true.
Yeah, that's where I kind of find it that way too, is just how many blatant and open advertisements for gambling, sports gambling are going to be littered across every single professional sport. But you have an issue that he was betting potentially for his team, against his team. However, was he betting against his team, Grumpy, or for his team? How was it done?
I believe it was only for his team. Here's the thing. I have no idea. I don't even care, honestly. I really don't. I just don't. I don't think it has any bearing on him as a baseball player. No one could ever say, man, that Pete Rose, he dogged it while he was out there. I mean,
he sandbagged it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And then you got the guy who's like, the biggest star in the world, and everyone knows he was gambling. I don't care what excuse they try to peddle. Shohei Ohtani absolutely had some type of gambling, and they just too big, sweep that under the rug.
Too big of an international superstar and Japan for the market over there, as well as for what we see here in the MLB currently for the Dodgers. He's huge.
You get
Superstar. 13 different cases of wire fraud, his translator committed. But again, I don't think he pressed charges or didn't want to press charges against his old buddy. I don't know. How many millions of dollars did he miss out on? And he chose not to pursue legal action against his buddy. Doesn't make sense.
They almost make it sound like this guy here is some type of criminal mastermind able to get. I'm sorry. He's his buddy. You know he's placing bets for him. You know he is. I mean, you look at Major League Baseball and their decisions all flawed as far as I'm concerned. Trevor Bauer, cleared of all charges, still can't get a shot in the major leagues. They're waiting. They're waiting until he can't perform anymore. Then, oh yeah, sure, you can come and pitch now. And then nobody take a chance on him.
I mean, it's the typical nonsense that you'll see from the MLB. And just to recap that, right? Because the Dodgers are one of the teams that are still vying for the potential World Series. Shohei Ohtani, I'm sorry, just to be 100% accurate, he was charged with the gambling scandal and was accused of stealing almost $17 million via placing illegal bets. So I don't know.
Anybody with a brain, if that's your money, you don't notice that $17 million is missing out of your bank account. You don't notice that. You don't notice that. I know it makes you a load of money, but still, 17 million is gonna hit you in the pocketbook. Oh shit! Well, I had 100 million in my bank account. Now I only got like 83. What the hell's going on?
And the 39-year-old interpreter will be required to pay full restitution to his victims, which includes $16.975 million to Shohei Ohtani and $1.1 million to the IRS. Yeah, I don't know how much interpreter jobs are paying currently, but I don't think they're paying anywhere near where you could pay off $17 million.
Is he a United States citizen? Because it's not, I'm like, screw you. I'm not paying you shit. I'll go back to Japan.
He's not. I don't think he is.
It's just, it's so hypocritical. You cannot be in bed with gambling and crack down on people again. You can't do it. You absolutely cannot do it. You are taking money from gambling. You therefore are tacitly condoning gambling. So Major League Baseball can take money on gambling, but anyone who's caught gambling, they're persona non grata. It's bullshit.
The reason I'm rehashing this, even though this happened a while ago, is because of the perception that Pete Rose had and the fact that he'll never make the Hall of Fame, or at least he didn't when he was alive. Shohei Ohtani will be gifted a Hall of Fame. I think, and again, Ohtani, great ball player. Excellent ball player, Grump. But, I mean, he'll make the Hall of Fame, no doubt about that, for what he's done on the diamond, despite this huge scandal, which I'd argue is probably – I'd argue this is probably a bigger scandal than what happened to Pete Rose.
The investigation was what, 3 days long, and they cleared him? Oh, stop.
Like a week or two. Yeah, and it's just like you look at this. Mitzahari's gambling activities appeared to start in September of 2021 and continued through March of 2024. According to prosecutors, after going to a Phoenix bank that Ohtani used to open up a bank account, Mizahari changed the security protocols on the account so bank employees could call him rather than Ohtani with any questions. Mizahari impersonated Ohtani and calls in which the bank at least 24 times, said the attorney's office. Again, like it just doesn't check out. The bank is letting you wire millions of dollars just on a phone call. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, yeah, this is Shohei Ohtani. What's his date of birth? Oh, yeah, I've got that one. What's the last four of his social? Sure, I've got that one. Sounds good. We're sending $1 million over to bookie A, B, and C for you. Don't worry about it, Ohtani. Thanks so much for your continued business. What? Again, like the entire thing just stunk to high heavens. I think that they didn't want to use or dig in deep into this at all because of who it was surrounding. He's got a squeaky clean image besides this item. And so they're just exactly right, hoping to sweep it right under the rug. You know what it reminds me of? If something like that happened to Derek Jeter, they would do the same thing because of his image, because of the way they look at him. That's the type of guy he is. And so they did that for Ohtani.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
We'll move on there to the next item there. I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to add on that. But
well, I just want to say Major League Baseball made $11 billion from DraftKings. It's like, please don't tell me that they don't do everything to kowtow to the sponsor who gives them the most amount of money. I'm sorry. You can't be in bed with the gambling community and then get pissed off when somebody's gambling. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Cannot do it.
I don't disagree.
For forever, no sport. We don't want any type of impression that gambling is involved and the games aren't on the up and up. And you're taking $11 billion from DraftKings? $11 billion. Using MLB's model as an example, league's overall revenue from this past fiscal year was $11 billion. The check they're receiving from the DraftKings is worth, $1.1 billion.
Oh, only 1.1 billion.
Think about that. 1.1 billion. I think that has a lot to do why they weren't popping Ohtani, because they want refund on their investment.
Yep. They want to make sure, man. They want to make sure.
Every single sport is in bed with gambling. Every single one. The owners gamble. You're trying to tell me none of these owners gamble? Please stop. Just, hey, just admit it. Just admit that if you don't want to get involved with gambling, don't get involved with gambling, but you can't have a double standard, which is what they have. Sorry.
Now, moving on, because we're going to talk some baseball early, because it's the World Series. It's the ALCS and the NLCS. We're going to talk some baseball early. By the by, right? Since the last show, the MLB season ended, right? The 2024 Chicago White Sox had more losses than any other team in MLB history in the modern era. The White Sox lost 121 games.
Unbelievable.
Hard to beat that, right? Hard to be that bad.
Almost impossible. 41 and 121.
Yikes. I know X is on the other side. I'm not sure if he's ever going to comment in or if he wants to share anything on that side, but man, oh man, it just yikes bad. Now, I do have some words of wisdom, Grumpy, from our best friend here. This is Frank the Tank. Now, I guess we'll introduce him in a little bit more, but I want to talk a little bit about the World Series matchup here, right? You've got the Cleveland Guardians against the Yanks and the New York Mets against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Grump and X, who do you have here in these matchups?
I think DraftKings League Baseball wants the Dodgers and the Yankees. That's what I think they absolutely want.
They want the AL and NL MVP.
And I want to mention something else that I noticed. In the American League Series, they always show the little box for strike zone. National League, they don't show it. If a pitch is called a strike and it's like, man, that doesn't look like a strike, and it's called one, they don't show a replay. Now, if it is called a strike and they show it and it's close, then you know that it verifies what they're having. The box should always be up there. I can't wait for the robotic umpires. I thought I'd never say that as a purist of the game, but I'm all for that. All for robotic umpires. Absolutely all for it.
Oh, gosh. I'll say, kind of taking the clock back, if you would have told me 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, doesn't matter at any point of this season, that the Mets were going to be in the NLCS, I would have called you crazy. I mean, they've had a hell of a second half of the season. I think since May, they had the best record in baseball. They've been hot. Francisco Lindor seems to come up clutch in every single moment that they need him to. He comes up with a big hit. He comes up with a grand slam. He does what he needs to in order to help that team win games. Can the Mets overcome? I think, right, the Dodgers on paper are far superior to the Mets. Do you think the Mets can pull out some magic and beat the Dodgers here in the series, Grump?
I think they can. I don't think the DraftKings League Baseball wants them to, though. So that's just something to watch for.
Really? You don't think like a Subway World Series matchup again?
It doesn't draw. It draws in New York, but it doesn't draw around the rest of the country. You got New York and Los Angeles. That's going to draw. Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. They're already showing commercials for it now.
Really?
I mean, they show other teams too, but that's who they're pushing. I mean, just what it kind of is what it is, right?
Yeah, and
I mean, you know who I was rooting for? I was rooting for Detroit and Kansas City and San Diego. I wasn't rooting for anyone else. And that's from a longtime Yankee and Met fan. I wasn't rooting for either team. I want to see San Diego. They've never won a World Series ever. So I was rooting for them. And in the American League, I kind of like the Tigers and I kind of like Kansas City. So I like the teams that they've been down for a while. They have a shot. Maybe they can win a World Series. Those type. And here's the thing: I'm rooting for Cleveland over the Yankees. They haven't won a World Series since what, 1950 something. It's a long time.
You're rooting for the Cleveland Guardians, huh, Grump?
I think they're a better team than the Yankees.
Really?
Yes, overall team.
Now, I'll put it to you like this. You know, when I watch the series, when I watch the games, the one thing that's always pervasive and always happens, I feel like here in the World Series is, my God, pitchers pitch like 4 innings, tops 5 innings, and they just go straight to the bullpen for the next, I don't know, remaining however many innings there are left. I just do hate that about baseball. I do, where it's just like, hey, we're going to roll out a starter for XYZ innings. We're going to put in a whole bunch of middle reliever, long reliever. So it's like everybody doesn't get a chance to get, used to the pitcher up there on the mound unless, they're lights out. But I just hate that about the sport, where it's like the game is so much different, at least the approach, when you're talking about the World Series compared to regular season games.
Because the pencil pushers, the little nerds who somehow involve themselves in baseball, they make all the decisions now. The managers don't make any decisions. They go with whatever they're told to by the front office. That's why the game is not as good. Just isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you should have a feel for the game. A guy's gone, what's the big, we don't want to let anybody go 3 times through the lineup. They might get a hit on us. Well, you know what? You should be expanding your pitchers all season long so they can pitch deep into games. Because when you have a guy who's a stud, there's no way you should take him out. Tampa Bay, the kings of the analytics crowd. It cost them against the Dodgers because, the Dodgers are choke artist supremes, without a doubt. The only team they could beat was Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay took out Blake Snell after he had 6 no-hit innings. And they're like, well, he might get tired and let's take him out. And they took him out. And they wound up getting beat, and that's what cost them the World Series. I have no problem at all ripping a team like that. And here's the thing, I was rooting for Tampa Bay, but the analytics geeks think they know better. Yeah. They know, you want something? They could never play the sport because they're too busy wearing their little pocket protectors. That's what they do. They should not ingratiate themselves in the sport. If you couldn't even play it as a kid, if your name was Poindexter and you were the last guy picked on your team, and you had your little glasses with the little tape around there because you weren't good enough, and you were always the last kid picked, or hey, how about you be bat boy for both teams? That was popular because kids sucked. Those guys should not be in charge of major league teams.
Oh, they should not be associated with the sport, Grumpy says.
Yeah.
Now, again, apparently there's a little bit of bad blood here between the Guardians. Now, Grumpy, I'm not sure if you're too familiar with this. Not obviously, right? Like they've kind of have that little back and forth there the last time these guys played in the divisional series there on that side. What do you anticipate from that series of the Yanks against the Indians or against the Guardians?
The Indians, still call them the Indians. They're a tough matchup for the Yankees. Why? Because they're able to play small ball and they can pitch. Can the Yankees? I don't know. Kansas City.
Garrett Cole's been good all series. He's been good all playoffs.
Who? I'm sorry?
Garrett Cole's been good all playoffs.
No, that's why he gets paid the big money.
Yeah. With the way they're running it, they're like running like a 3-man rotation these days.
I don't like the Yankees bullpen. I'm not saying the Yankees can't win it, but this is what happens when you add a Juan Soto to your lineup, though, right? It extends that lineup. And that's what the Yankees needed. how many years was it just Aaron Judge and, who else? And they'd always lose.
Carlos Stanton.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's healthy now and he's playing well now. But just as hot as he's been, well, you know what? He can cool off just like that and go 0-for-27 with 26 strikeouts. But he does right now. He looks good at the plate. Right now, he does.
Yeah, and another thing that we hear often, at least I feel like I hear often, is how frequently people try to shit. Oh, Aaron Judge isn't clutch. Aaron Judge doesn't do this. Oh, hey, Aaron Judge has never had a home run, a memorable home run in Yankees postseason history. He's never had a home run after the 7th inning when they were trailing to give them the lead. And they give like these ridiculous fucking parameters as to where it's like, oh, this is the reason why Aaron Judge isn't clutch. I'm like, dude, they were saying that I think in game 1 or game 2 against the series against the Royals, Grump. I don't know if you happen to catch that too, but I just was kind
of he's not been good in the postseason. Why? Because the pitching is better. You can't fatten up your stats against some meatball pitcher. And guess what? Good teams are going to do what? If you don't have anyone else to pitch to, or you can pitch to everyone else on the line, you pitch around him.
He's played.
He's not been great in the postseason. He's not been a great postseason.
He's had 4 games. He's got 2 hits and 5 walks. I don't know, right? Like if you're consistently getting walked, right? His on base percent. I have no idea what his on base percentage is, but it's over 300. I don't understand why they're bitching and moaning.
Because he's paid to knock in runs. Same thing with A-Rod. You realize A-Rod's postseason numbers are way better than Aaron Judge's, and he was considered a postseason bust by all Yankees fans. But here's the thing. Aaron Judge is a hero of the people, so they're not going to say that.
I don't know what you're talking about. They were saying that during the game.
Saying what?
So again, like they were talking, they were criticizing his play during the game. They're just doing that.
I'm talking about the fans.
I don't know if the fans have been like, "Oh, he's fantastic."
The fans were always ripping on A-Rod for his postseason performance, and his numbers are better than Aaron Judge's. I mean, they both played a lot in the postseason.
Okay. Aaron Judge, his career batting average in the postseason is 207. Not a good career batting average. His career on base percentage is a 360.
What were A-Rod's numbers in the postseason?
I guarantee you A-Rod's numbers were better.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. He was always ripped. He's a choker. He's not a postseason performer. He wasn't liked because he was there with Jeter, and Jeter was the sainted one. I'm a Yankees fan. I know. And now Judge is the sainted one. It doesn't matter. He could go. Oh, I remember there was a year where Jeter went something like 2 for 100, 2 for like 100 or 2 for 80 something at bats, and he was Torrey just roll him out at the top of the lineup every day. Does that happen to anybody else?
I'm just going to tell you this. I don't think he's beloved as much as you think, Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge, I disagree. 100%.
Okay. Gotcha. I'll say this. I think the Yanks are the favorites to win that series against the Guardians. I do.
I just think Cleveland's a tough matchup for them. That's all I'm saying.
I just think the Yankees at the end of 7 games or at the 7-game series, Yankees come out victorious. Now, let's talk a little bit about Dodgers and Mets, Grumpy. Do the Mets still have a little magic left in the stick, Grumpy? Or does their Cinderella story come and end flat here?
I think the Mets pitching, Sean Manaea has been great, particularly over the second half of the year. Kodai Senga's back, and he's been looking pretty good. I think the Mets are enjoying this Cinderella thing. The Dodgers are the huge favorite. Mets are playing with house money. And the Dodgers are chokers. They are. The only team that's a bigger choke artist than they are the Padres. 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row, same scenario plays out. Can't close out a game, a third win. Can't do it. I can't help you, Padres fans. I was rooting for the Padres. Really was. I wanted to see Padres Mets, honestly, in the championship series.
Now, I will say this. Mark Vientos has been on fire this postseason for the Mets. I mean, he's been great this year in the postseason. So, and pitching is what wins you. You're absolutely right, grumpy old man. I'll say this, too. I've liked what I've seen out of Severino. He's had a good year all year, regular season and postseason for the Mets, too.
Yeah. Is Lindor not MVP of the league, though, really?
They're going to give it to Ohtani.
Well, I know they are, but who's more valuable to his team? Dodgers are loaded. True. I think Francisco Lindor single-handed. I don't know how many game-winning RBIs yet, but every time they needed a clutch hit, he came up with one. I don't even know what his batting average was this year. 245, 250.
No, it was good. It's the best batting average he's had for the Mets, I think, 273.
Okay, well, he picked it up towards the end. But all
yeah, this is the best batting average he's ever had as a Met.
I mean, he was really, really good for the Mets down the stretch. I mean, every game that they needed something had to happen, he came up and he delivered in a clutch situation. Just did.
Yeah, and the power numbers were definitely there. This was kind of like, right, like in years past, right, he'd have the power numbers, but the average wasn't there. I mean, he played well this year, and very clutch is exactly right, grumpy old man. I liked what I saw out of Lindor at the tail end of this year. Now, you don't think, just to recap, you don't think the Mets have any more magic left to beat the Dodgers?
No, I think they can beat them. I'm rooting for them. we're going to see. I think the league absolutely wants Dodgers Yankees. I just want them to have that little box up all the time. I just don't like it being selective, which is what they tend to do. I don't like that.
I am too, and the umps have been shitty as always. I mean, it's the one complaint I'll always have about baseball is the strike zone. I feel like migrates all over the place depending on where the guy's standing in the box, who's up to bat. It's just like it's never consistent. You just have to love it where the pitch is like I don't know, or misses the plate by I don't know about 3 or 4 inches, and they're calling those balls strikes, and you're just like Jesus Christ. It sucks. It's it's subjective, but you gotta hate it. Now, I did want to go ahead and showcase Grumpy Old Man. They did have Frank, and hopefully we can get X to weigh in on this one here too. Frank weighed in, Grumpy Old Man, our favorite Frank, talking about the Mets.
Oh my God! Throw everything bad away. I mean, oh my God. Throw everything bad away. This Met team, I thought this was going to be a miserable season when the season began. I didn't like the hire of Carlos Mendoza. I was wrong about that. Lindor in April, in the first 2 weeks of May, looked like he completely forgot how to play baseball. We're 11 games under 500 as May's coming to a close. Team looked like not even close to being alive, like deader than dead. And then out of nowhere. I mean, so many years of June swoons.
It was all the hate rally.
So many June swoons. And you get back in the race. And then you get to today, and all of that was in this game a microcosm. Down 3-0, okay. Focus on game 2.
Okay. The tenor of and his discussion here, you'd think that they won the fucking World Series based off of the way that Frank is talking about this. In reality,
brought Frank the Tank to tears.
What is that, Grumpy? Or is that X?
The Mets have brought Frank the Tank to tears.
That's kind of the way it feels. I mean, the Mets were in the World Series, what, in 2017 against the Royals? What year was it they were in the World Series against the Royals, Grump?
2015.
Was it 15? Wow. Okay, gotcha. And they've been to a few NLCSs. I remember they lost to the Cardinals, like 07. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have that magical feeling. I didn't follow them enough this year to have that feeling of like, oh man, maybe we've accomplished something. So I'm like, if they win, I kind of feel like it's like stolen valor. If I'm like, yeah, Mets, I'm still pulling for the Mets. They're my team, but I kind of feel like it's stolen valor. I haven't followed them enough this year to wear that with pride.
Now here's the question, TJ: if the Mets beat the Dodgers, do they win the series?
What do you mean, the series against the Dodgers?
The World Series. If they beat the Mets, or if the Mets beat the Dodgers, do you think that they go on to win the World Series?
Depends on who they're playing. I think I'd love to see another Subway World Series. I remember that as a kid. What was that, 2001 or 2002, Grumpy?
2000.
2000. That's right. I remember that series. A household divided. I was pulling for the Mets. You and X were pulling for the Yanks. I remember that one, Grumpy.
Do you now? You sure you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. I mean, that was back. Was Matsui's. The Matsui's were both there in New York, I'm thinking, too, right, Grump?
I remember I bought you a shirt. I think that was after that. And it said Matsui versus Matsui. We went to a Yankee.
Yeah.
Actually, to a Mets game. That
was an actual Subway Series game.
It was but it wasn't Mets versus Yankees, the game we went to. But they were selling some of those shirts. It was Matsui versus Matsui.
Yeah.
For the Big Apple, whatever it was. I got to that shirt.
I remember that. Great shirt, Grumpy. Great shirt. But yeah, I'm hoping, honestly, I kind of want to have that nostalgia feeling again. I'm hoping for a Subway Series.
Major League Baseball is not looking for that.
They want your AL MVP and your NL MVP facing off.
Yeah,
that's what they want. If you looked at the advertisement that they had for MLB postseason, all it showed was Ohtani and Judge. That's it. almost like they're already writing what they want.
Can I just say one thing? X has been over my house now since Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
Been over your house since Thursday afternoon at the Grumpy Estate.
Yes, because fiance Y went to Vegas, and you know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I don't know what's going on there.
Oof,
So-
went to Vegas.
So X has been with us, and all I hear, every single sporting event, all I hear is how the referees are screwing. You don't even think they play. Everything is because of the referees. They didn't call that. Look, that's a penalty. This is a penalty. I'm like, they're not going to call a penalty on every play. They could, but they don't want 27-hour games. You can't have that. And X is like, do your job. And he's so irrational. It's honest. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Yeah, well, again, like, you know,
It doesn't even matter the sport. Doesn't matter.
I will say this much. Officials have been poor, I think, across sports, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. But I'll tell you, Scooball for Detroit was great, right? Like, it's funny. We talk about, like, the turning of the page, right? Like, I think, you know, the sun is setting on some of the old guard for the MLB, and, you know, you got some of the new guys coming through. And, like, Scooball, I thought was great in the postseason there for the Tigers. Not sure what your opinion is on that too, Grump.
Yeah, I think he was, regardless of the game yesterday, he gave up a grand slam that wound up, and it dances losing, but he was one of only 5 pitchers who the first time they pitched in the playoffs had pitched 2 quality starts, no runs given up, no walks, and so many strikeouts, like the 5th one in the history of the game. You remember when I said, man, if I was the Orioles, I would have made that trade for him. Even if you're sacrificing a little bit of youth, he came in, he shut the Orioles down, shut them out. And, you know, at some point in time, you either want to go for it or you don't. And that's the problem with the Orioles. That, well, we still got these young guys. We got plenty of time. When you have an opportunity to win, you got to grab it because you never know what can happen the next year. I think they should have went after Scooball. They didn't. They still had 2 years of team control over him before they had to re-sign him. They're going to lose Corbin Burns this year. Jack Flaherty's probably going to be Flaherty was already gone. But I just think that, you know, you had a chance to make a deal for a guy who could have set you apart in MLB. They probably wouldn't even have had to play in the first round if they would have traded for him. Instead, the Yankees wind up winning that division by a game. Don't tell me Scooball's not worth a game in the regular season because he was just that good this year. He won the Triple Crown for pitchers this year, and he will be a Cy Young Award winner.
And like Skeens is good. Like there's a lot of those young. That's what I mean. There's a lot of the turnover, right? Like you look at it, the page is flipped on Verlander. The page is flipped on DeGrom. The page has started to flip on the old guard for the pitchers, the old guard for some of the batters, and it's starting. It's like these are some of the new faces.
You started seeing it hitters wise 2 years ago.
Yes, I agree.
Now you're seeing it pitchers wise. You're seeing it. The Verlanders, the Scherzers. Those guys are, I mean, they're older now also, right? Guys with injuries, but you're starting to, Paul Skeens is special.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's only 21. That kid's a horse.
Oh yeah. He's built big too.
Yeah.
So
I kind of, like I said, I like to watch individuals and see, you know, who's, there's certain guys that I'm like, man, I love the way these guys play.
I want to watch the rest of this here from Frank.
He's so far he's done
you
nothing.
find a way to take the lead, only to give it up. But then Francisco Lindor, I don't care, 50-50. MVP is most valuable player, not best player. Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball. Francisco Lindor is the most valuable player in baseball. And Edwin Diaz, after a Ed Luz Diaz just mind cramp in the 8th inning. Buckled down, got those last 3 outs. Don't care what happens in game 2. Don't care. Don't need to care. Playoffs start tomorrow, whether it's Milwaukee or San Diego. I don't care. In the playoffs, you know, if the Mets win a game, maybe win a round. Love to win a round. Didn't know have a playoff game to go to. But this season has done more to restore my faith in this franchise
You're going to cry?
than any season in the last 25 years.
I hope the Mets lose now. I really hope they lose. I hope they get swept, blown out. I was rooting for the Mets 2 minutes ago. I was rooting for the Mets till I watched this clown. Now I'm rooting against them.
Think about it. This was when I think they won the 3-game play-in series against whoever it was. Against the Braves, right?
Yep, it was against the Braves.
Yeah, the one. This is after I think they won the 3-game play-in series against the Braves. So, let's
No,
continue.
he was talking. I think he was talking about.
No, he said, I don't care if we play the Padres. I don't care if we play the Brewers. They didn't know who they were playing yet. So, like, this was to get them into the postseason. This is like that play-in game or that play-in series of 3 games. So, I'll let it continue here, but it's great.
Feel for the first time I could begin to hope again about this team, the direction of this team.
Who cuts his hair?
Carlos Mendoza,
My God, he's
Jose, and I don't care how he stays in the organization. Jose Iglesias.
God.
Oh my God. Throw everything bad away. Give me health and prosperity. I have nothing, but I am happy. Only memories live in me. Dreams to fulfill dreams. And go to me. I may be crazy, but I'm not lazy. And until I achieve, I will continue.
Oh boy.
I don't know where the Mets are going after this, but what a fucking season.
I didn't know if that was going to bring some, like, where you were going to humanize Frank the Tank Grumpy or if it was going to make you upset. That was recorded there on September 30th.
Long story short, it made Grumpy upset.
I'm like, isn't he a grown man?
He is a grown man, Grump.
Okay. I'm
He
sorry.
chews on his little chew toy on his neck.
He didn't need to chew on it because the Mets have restored his faith. Didn't you understand, X?
I
And
can't.
also, like, you talk about the trifecta for that guy, Frank. He's also a Dolphins fan, which makes it even better.
There's nothing restoring his faith in that team. They might be the worst team in the league now.
Oh, God.
Patriots played Drake May today. And, hey, if you're a Patriots fan, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
He can throw the ball.
Yeah.
He absolutely
There's
can.
interceptions, but yeah.
He's a gunslinger. And we'll see how that works.
I'll tell you who he's better than. He's better than Noodles. Way better arm. Way better arm.
And he doesn't have mashed potato brains.
That's true.
X, start putting up some comments here for us. Oh, Grumpy. Mario Grump.
It's one thing to advertise gambling apps during MLB games, and it's another to bet on your team as a player manager. That's what Rose did. No, there's no difference. If you want to be, you're taking money from gambling, period. You either want to be involved or you don't. That was the holier than thou bullshit from all these sports leagues. Oh, we can never be involved with gambling. No, we don't. You can't even see anything like that. Cannot have it happen. Can't happen. We're totally divorced from it. And now they're right there like pigs at the trough. They got their heads just more revenue, more money. That's what it's all about for them. No respect for the leagues at all. None. Zero, nada, nothing. They lose the moral high ground whether you get in bed with gambling. Period. You've lost any moral standing that you had on that particular issue is gone. Totally gone.
I'll say this here too, Mario. He had the most hits in the history of the MLB. You think he was gambling on himself to like strike out or to I mean, like what do you think he was gambling against himself as a player? I don't care what the guy did as a manager. I really don't. Doesn't impact what he did as a player. And that's the issue that I have always and always will. The guy's a really shitty coach. Like Wayne Gretzky was a shitty coach when he was a coach of the Arizona. Was it Coyotes, Grumpy? He was a coach for a while.
No, he was manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
No, Wayne Gretzky, Grump. Wayne Gretzky. He was a coach for the Arizona Coyotes for a bit, right?
Maybe he was.
He was a coach for a while, and he sucked. But guess what? I don't think about that when I'm thinking about Wayne Gretzky and what he did on the ice. He was the greatest hockey player or one of the greatest hockey players to ever lace up skates. I don't give a shit what he did as a manager. It's the same thing for Pete Rose. I don't care what he did as a manager. Did he cheat when he was playing ball? Well, he had the most hits in the history of the MLB. I'd say probably not.
No one could ever say, again, that Pete Rose ever threw a game. Never freaking ever. Never, ever. He earned the name Charlie Hustle was an insult to him. It was initially given to as an insult because he ran out every ball. Every single walk, he ran it out. He always gave his hardest. And it was honestly a a derisive term that was given to him when he was a young player, but he turned it into a positive. Here's the thing. You can say you don't like Pete Rose. He wasn't a great person, and that might be true. I don't know. But guess what? There's a lot of guys in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame who were drug dealers, major abusers of drugs, beat their wives, racists. They're all in there. But this guy bet on games as a manager, and that's what you want to hang your hat on. Okay. And then you're in bed with the gambling community. Okay. Like Calvin Ridley in the MLB, right? He plays what? $100
Calvin Ridley in the NFL is what you meant to say.
Right. How much money did he bet?
$150, something crazy like that.
Okay. They're taking in billions from the gambling community. This guy places a bet for $150
when he was away from the team, when he was out for the year. Yes. And again, like just to bring it up, right? I don't judge Wayne Gretzky's playing career off of 4 miserable seasons with the Phoenix Coyotes, right? Like it's again 4 years. I don't judge that off of him. The greatest hockey player there was. I'm not judging him off of poor performance as a manager or anything questionable they did there. Simple. Here you go. Johnny Mack here said, I thought the Mets were done in June. And he also here, Grumpy.
TJ Grump at the Islanders and Stars game last night. The Islanders played better and deserved a better outcome. Short Pants Nelson is absolutely the 2024 Josh Bailey. So soft. He's always been soft. He's never been not soft.
I'll say this here too. I thought in the second period we were dominated. Third period, I thought Dallas was just happy to sit back and try to counterpunch. And they were happy with the 2-goal lead with one of the better goalies in the NHL. So
if you just pop up the comment from my little pop up the comment from my little brownie, please, just from a differing point of view. Went to the Isle Stars game last night, and they look worse in person. The giveaways and turnovers were abysmal. I don't think there's a whole lot of structure to their game right now.
Yep, I agree with that.
I listened to Patrick Waugh post game, and it's like I think he knows there's nothing he can do with this team.
Wow.
He says he's trying to say the right things, but it's a struggle. And I think his accent is getting thicker so that people maybe won't understand him.
Okay, Johnny Mac.
Watched your Islanders podcast today. Romanoff was outside the dots and not on the D side of the puck. Dobson and Casey never got to the D side of the puck on that goal either. That is the Islanders' biggest problem. They don't have any structure. I think they're so focused on we need to score more. And because that's Patrick Waugh's style. Remember, he came from the Q. When he was in Colorado, were they a great defensive team? Nope.
No.
The Q, did they play any defense in the Q? Nope.
No.
Like I said, the Islanders will be more exciting to watch this year, but you're going to see a lot of games like that.
I'll tell you this year, too. When Romanoff does that and takes himself out of position, is he ever going to learn?
Nope.
My thing is, I'm like, when you're like, as a coach, when a guy does that, be like, hey, buddy, we're just going to skate you all fucking practice. Simple. I can't have you playing like a mite out there. That's something that like a middle schooler would do. Like a young high schooler is like, oh, crap, I made that mistake again. I wanted to lay a big hit. And I selfishly tried to make the play about me instead of trying to stop essentially the other team. There's 2 minutes left, and you have your guy abandoning position to try to lay a big hit along the boards. Selfish play. Simple as that. Johnny Mac Grump.
They never engage in puck battles on the defensive side of the puck. Absolutely.
Yeah. Here you go. JP Grump.
I think the Yankees should be favorites to finally win it again. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out soon enough. I think here's the thing. I think that Cleveland's a tough matchup for the Yankees. It's not that I don't think the Yankees can win, but Cleveland's a tough matchup for the Yankees. And I believe they have home field advantage. Cleveland does.
I'll pull it up. I'll let you know. Next comment there, Grump.
I want the Mets to win, but I don't know if they can win 4 out of 7. Well, I remember in 1988, the Mets had beaten the Dodgers, I think 11 of 12 games in the regular season, and they lost in 7. That was the Kurt Gibson year. The Mets were so much better than the Dodgers that year. So much better. And they wound up losing in 7 games to the Dodgers.
I think, by the way, really quickly, the Yankees had the best record in the American League.
Better than Cleveland?
Yep. Cleveland they were 92-69. The Yanks were 94-68.
Okay.
So Yanks have home field advantage there.
One thing you notice in the playoffs, pitching's better, right? A lot less. I mean,
everything tightens up. Everything tightens up. A run is very important. You see a lot of the fundamentals of baseball have to be executed. Bunting guys over that maybe you don't do so much of during the regular season. You're fighting for a run.
But you don't see it.
Different.
But you don't see that because they don't teach guys to bunt anymore because the geeks up in the box say, well, we don't care about bunting. It's better just to swing for the fences than draw a walk, or if you strike out, you strike out. It's just an out. It's better to swing for a home run. It's wrong. It's ruining baseball. It really is.
It's coming here. Johnny Macgrump.
I like Acuna. I hope McNeil does not replace him. Well, the way McNeil played this year, there's no risk of that.
He had a bad year. After winning the batting title last year, JP Grump.
I have to shake my head at Woody Johnson. Could he actually start to care about his NFL franchise this year, or does the clown show at Florham Park, New Jersey begin? The clown show at Florham Park, New Jersey begin.
And end with him.
So
I think what JP is referencing is Robert Saleh was canned. He was fired there. See you later, Saleh. And new head coach for the Jets.
New head coach is their former, I think, defensive coordinator.
Yes.
He also changed the play caller on offense. Now, supposedly, Saleh wanted to get rid of Paul Hackett as the
Nathaniel Hackett, right?
Okay, I'm sorry, Nathaniel Hackett. Paul Hackett used to coach for Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, and that's his son because we know it's a big nepotism business in professional sports, and so he wanted Hackett out, and so did Rodgers. So I mean, I don't think that Rodgers loved Saleh, but I don't think he's the reason he got fired.
Let's listen to this here because I talked a little bit about the inside and the inner workings here.
Of course, the Jets firing their coach this week. For people who are busy living their lives, Shefty, and have not been following this minute by minute, take us through everything people need to know about this decision, how we got there, and where it goes from here.
Well, I think a lot of people viewed it as a rash, sudden decision, but it wasn't. It had been building for quite some time. And there were a lot of people who felt like Woody Johnson never really loved and embraced Robert Saleh all that much. And I think there was some thought that it could happen after last season. It didn't. They started slow this season. And if you go back and look at all the numbers and all the history, right? 32nd ranked offense under Robert Saleh, minus 26 in the turnover margin under Robert Saleh, outscored by 267 points in the first half under Robert Saleh, 60 more penalties than their opposition under Robert Saleh. And I think Woody Johnson said, I've had enough. I've seen this too long. And this roster, in his opinion, is too good. It's good enough to win now. And, oh, by the way, if they win Monday night on Monday Night Football against the Bills, they are in first place. So he knows that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a lot of chances left. So before he could squander the last season, this was something that I think he had thought about all along. I don't know that he was ever a big Robert Saleh fan. And finally he said, I had enough, and he moved forward.
So I think that kind of checks out to sound true, to be quite frank with you. I never disliked Saleh as a coach, but when you started to kind of hear the numbers where it's like they're always outscored in the first half, they turn the ball a hell of a lot more than they have takeaways. They've got a lot of penalties, which means they're on discipline. And you start to see it's like, sometimes our star quarterback looks great, and other times, we're dropping balls left and right. We're looking not prepared. The fish rots from the head. Got to get rid of them.
What was Robert Saleh's record with the Jets?
Not good. I can tell you, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was freaking abysmal. I mean, he's had so many, and I like Robert Saleh. I really do. I think he's a better defensive coordinator than a head coach. The scene where he wanted to hug Rodgers on the sideline when he came off, and Rodgers kind of pushes away. Now, here's the thing. We all know Rodgers kind of a douche, right? Let's be honest. But still,
I like Rodgers, baby. Rodgers, just can't double check.
I mean, the one thing, and I'm just going to mention it. We were all on the first week. We were off the Rodgers train. 2 weeks after that, we're all on the Rodgers train because he looked great. And then he turns back into a pumpkin. You know what? You see that from players who are in their 40s. You really do. There's only one guy. There's only one guy who was able to, in essence, beat Father Time and be really consistent in his 40s. And when you see somebody like that, you think, well, gosh, this guy's really good like he was. He'll be able to do it too. They're not able to. It's so difficult once you get older to make those plays.
You're asking about the record, right?
20 and 36. I'm sorry. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. You're not good enough. 20 and 36, a 357 winning percentage is not good enough to keep your job in the NFL. 4 years, 3.5 years, whatever it was. Not good enough.
I am I am much more, coaches should get fired much more frequently than they do. I think some coaches are given way too long of a leash. Here's the thing. It's a not for long for a reason. The players get cut left and right. Players lose jobs. Players lose positions. Players lose all that. No problem at all with that. And it should be the same with coaches.
And now I'll ask you this question, TJ, because I feel it's tough to change horses midstream because it's a total different system. Your team has to learn a total different system. Would you agree that would be a struggle for any team? Like bringing in a full-time coach,
brand new coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not going to do that. I mean, like, what if they did? It have to be okay. Gotcha. You're just going to let things operate the way they do, and your job is just kind of to be a figurehead to make sure you motivate the guys. But you would be completely hands off, at least on certain decisions, because you don't want to have too much change, and you don't want to have too much, upheaval to happen at this point in time in the season. So they're just going to say, hey, offense, take care of offense, defense, take care of defense. We got rid of Salah. Who knows? Maybe people were also worried about other things going on with that situation. But he, quite frankly, right, like the record just wasn't good enough. And here's the thing. There's a lot of coaches I feel like I could say the same thing with, where I'm like, how do they still have a job? Right? Like Doug Peterson for the Jacksonville Jaguars. How does he still have a job? Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals. How does he still have a job? Oh, well, Bengals just always start off 0-2 every single season, and they just get off the slow starts, but that's the Bengals. Well, yeah, they've had back-to-back seasons now starting off 1-4. Yeah, not good enough. Or maybe it's 1-5 this year. I don't remember. They're awful. They're awful. Their coach needs to be canned. How much can you let one Super Bowl appearance coast you in, the 2 or 3 years? I'm sorry. This is not a business to where you get complete immunity from potentially losing your job forever and ever and ever because you made a Super Bowl appearance. Last year was shitty for the Bengals. This year's awful for the Bengals. The problem? Head coach. See you later.
Ownership is cheap. That's Cincinnati's biggest problem. They don't want to pay anybody. They want to nickel and dime everybody. It breeds discontent in the locker room. It just does. When all these contract hassles play out in the locker room, they do, and they just want to play it cheap. You can't, if you want to own a sports team, you got to come off the hip to spay. You get so much money from the gambling community, the TV deals, every other thing, that there's no excuse not to pay these players the money. Mike Brown looks like he's wearing the same freaking clothes from when his dad ran the team in the 1970s. I mean, the same exact clothes that he was wearing 50 years ago. They're worn out. It's like, dude, you have so much money and you don't want to spend anything on the team. They're a team 2-3 years ago that looked like, man, they're an up-and-coming team. They're going to win Super Bowls. They had so much young talent, but he doesn't want to pay anybody, so they all walk away. Bigger question for you. Is there any way that you don't think Bill Belichick has a job next year? Anyway.
I don't think Bill Belichick was going to coach again.
Oh, I guarantee you he coaches next year.
No shot in hell he's done.
I don't
know. You're not keeping up enough with his personal life. Maybe X is a little bit more. He's posing for a lot of pictures with his new 20-something-year-old girlfriend. He's wearing Taylor Swift sweaters.
He's at Taylor Swift concerts, baby.
Well,
he ain't coaching. He's done. He's done, Grumpy. Okay. He's settling down and happy with his 20-year-old girlfriend, and he's parking the bus and he's done.
He wants that wins record. He wants it. None of his assistants have jobs. None of them. Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia, Joe Judge. Oh, these are his guys from the glory days. None of them have jobs. Eagles. I'm going to tell you what. Citriani, whatever the hell. What's his name?
Sirianni,
whatever.
Citriani. Oh.
Did you see what
From
happened to him
Satriani.
today?
He's losing his job.
Did you
He's
see what
losing
happened to
his
him
job.
today?
You know something? I
Did
know
you see what happened to him today? Was the question I asked.
he did some type of big celebration thing, right? After they won.
No. Sirianni, and again, the Eagles have looked like shit.
Yes.
They've looked bad. Guess what? Jalen Hurts, as I've mentioned, he's so great. He said this. Not a good quarterback. He's a guy where, again, a lot of these guys who use their legs, who are guys who, it's run first, pass more second, or, hey, I'm a guy who's a pass secondary type of QB. As soon as they figure out how to stop the initial, which is what are your tendencies? How frequently are you rolling out? Where are you escaping the pocket from? What are you looking to do in certain situations? Okay, gotcha. He goes through 2 reads and he's off for the run. We need to make sure we pay attention to that. As soon as they figure that out, guy isn't the same anymore. He's got the weapons for the Eagles, right? We would all agree he's got great weapons, right, Grumpy, for the Eagles?
Well, now he does. I mean, they were missing everyone for a few weeks, with the exception of Barkley. You're missing your top 2 wide receivers. It's going to be a struggle for any quarterback.
Brown and Brown and Smith, and they've got Barkley. The team has got a lot of talent, and to come out and shit the bed like they did today they won, right? I'll say this, but against the 1-5 Browns, not good.
They caught lightning in a bottle the year they lost to Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
I agree with that.
Sirianni and the 2 goofs who were his 2 coordinators who got the head coaching gigs in Arizona and Indianapolis, they all suck. Every single one of them. I think Sirianni's in over his head. That's a perfect situation for Belichick. That team needs discipline. At least Jalen Hurts didn't turn the ball over today. He usually turns it over a couple times a game. At some point in time, I don't know. I like to blame coaching there. Players win games, coaches lose them. And I think that's what you've seen with the Eagles. There's a lot of teams out there. Belichick absolutely will get a head coaching job next year. Absolutely. Book it.
I just don't think he's going to – I don't think he's going to coach, Grump. I think he's done.
Absolutely.
I think he's done. I think he's happy and content with his current situation, his current life. That's what I think.
Okay, she's
I
not a
think
wide.
Grumpy wants him to coach more so than he's going to.
He will coach. He will be coached next year. He will be coached next year.
Okay. He's happy. I think he's ready to turn down the I don't need to be working 100-hour work weeks plan anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and have, spend some time with my girlfriend, my 20-year-old girlfriend. I think that's what he's valuing a little bit more. He's already got the most Super Bowls as a head coach in the history of the sport. He's already done so much. He's just like, hey, I'm happy with, my current situation, if you know what I mean. Again, I'm trying to be couth with the way I'm saying this, but I don't think he's doing anything different. I think he's very happy with how things are currently.
I want to know what that girl sees in him.
I could only imagine, Grump. I can only imagine. Now,
maybe it's his boat. Maybe it's his boat, 8 rings or whatever the hell he named the boat. Maybe he thinks he's going to put a ring on it. I don't know.
This is Sirianni. They're up 4 points at the end of the game with a minute left. Look at this.
On the Philadelphia sideline, 2 road games coming up at the Giants.
He's taunting the
Bengals.
Eagles crowd, saying, "I can't hear you." All this other shit after they were saying fire Sirianni earlier in the game.
Yeah.
He started going off and acting unhinged.
Yeah.
What is the one thing we always tell players? What's the one thing we always tell coaches, to managers, no matter what it is?
Fans.
You cannot act negatively towards the fans. You will always lose. Always, always, always. Because every single Eagle fan saw that and said, fuck Sirianni. I can't wait till we get rid of that son of a bitch.
He's forgetting.
That's what it is.
He's forgetting the city he lives in.
He lives in Philly, buddy.
Philadelphia it's like the a-hole of the United States, maybe the world, but the United States of America for certain. And they ain't going to forget that. It's like Bobby Bonilla telling the reporters, you can't knock the smile off my face. Well, they made it their point, their life's mission to knock the smile off his face. And if he wants to talk shit to the Philadelphia, that's going to turn out bad for him. Every head coach gets fired. He's not going to make it. This will be his last year. This will be his last year there, I guarantee. And you're going to see maybe Belichick slide in there, bring his whole crew in.
I think Belichick will be better for the Bengals. I really do. I think Belichick's a better fit for the Bengals with a guy like Joe Burrow than he is on that squad.
This is the same team. The Bengals are the same team that kept Marvin Lewis there for 15 years.
I know they're never going to fire Zach Taylor.
No.
But it's just like, how many prime years of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and guys like T. Higgins are you going to waste? Because that's what they're doing.
T. Higgins can walk after this year.
Yeah.
Isn't this the last year of Jamar Chase's contract too?
I thought Jamar got an extension. He got that big extension, or he's waiting for the big extension. He's waiting.
They don't want to give it to him. They want to play it cheap. Again, they want to be cheap. They don't want to pay anybody. They want to pay guys, 10 cents on the dollar. That's why you're a loser, Mike Brown. Sorry. His dad grew up during the Depression, so he knows, hey, got to save money, got to pinch pennies.
I'll put this up here. We'll continue along. Man, oh man, there've been a few hits, at least regarding what we've seen since our last show. This was a minute-long clip here. It was Baker Mayfield spoke about the situation when he was asked to come in, or kind of when he reached agreement with Tampa and kind of what they were looking for him to do. Kind of, I'd say inadvertently takes maybe a stab at Tom Brady. At least that's definitely how Tom Brady perceived it. And Tom Brady responded. Let's watch this here.
Our guy here said, quote, "They wanted me to come in, be myself, bring the joy back to football for guys who weren't having as much fun." It's funny because you've made this environment for me very stressful up here in the booth. So I understand where he's coming from.
Do you feel it?
No.
Feel the stress? No. Well, I was going to say, I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings. So there was a mindset of a champion that I took to work every day. This wasn't daycare. If I wanted to have fun, I was going to go to Disneyland with my kids.
Yeah. So, as you were saying, go ahead. That's you feel like, I feel like there's more in there to say.
There's a way to approach this game.
Yeah.
And it's that with the right mindset and try to push each other outside of our comfort zone. And great teammates do that. You come in, I have someone like Gronkowski, I have someone like Evans. There's high expectations for us. We got to make sure we go out there and deliver.
The competitive juice is still flowing.
It's still in there.
He was saying again, like obviously you heard the clip, but
update on People's Champion. Update on People's Champion.
Sure.
As everyone knows, love Tom Brady, greatest football player of all time, maybe greatest team athlete of all time. Shitty announcer. This is the Tom Brady I want to see as an announcer right here. That's what I want to see, where I'm taking no prisoners. Because as an announcer, he seems like he's always trying to walk on eggshells not to offend anyone. Someone rips him, well, then he's coming at you. He's going to be approved to own 10% of the Raiders. What does that do for him in the broadcast booth? He won't be able to broadcast Raiders games for certain. He can't talk about officiating because, that's speaking against, I'm sure he won't be able to talk about gambling either. But, you wonder, is that maybe the end of his announcing career? Is not necessarily a bad thing, but
I think though you're right. Tom Brady, if he treated it more like that,
when he's natural, when he's himself, and that's the
carry a little bit of a vendetta and a chip on your shoulder, like these guys who are doing it now fucking suck. And it's the reason why you can have a guy and saying things like, it's the reason why you have a guy like Joe Flacco coming in after sitting on his ass for a few years, comes in and plays well in that last year and comes in this year and it's like, oh great, he's so fantastic. It's the reason why you got a guy like Sam Darnold lighting the league on fire, because you don't have a fucking quarterback worth a cent out there.
That's a whole nother.
But I mean, like things like I mean, more just like, gotcha. I want to see that from him. Like, hey, things aren't very good, or this is the problem. I just wanted to be brutally honest. That's what I'd like to see from Tom up there in the booth.
My thing is, be yourself. People see through phony. That's him. That's who he is. Shit talker. That's what he was. That's what he needs to be in the booth. Tony Romo, Greg Olson. Really natural. They just be yourself. Don't be over prepared.
Yeah.
You got to know your X's and O's, but the greatest ones, they're just themselves. I think that's the thing that he's struggling with right now. Like I said, I don't watch his games when they're on to see if he's
doing grumpy. Better. You don't give like a feedback and scat him grumpy to see how
I do not. I listened to him the first week. I think it was Dallas and Cleveland, and I'm like, my God, he sucks. And then, but I don't watch. Oh, hold on. Tom Brady's announcing the game. I got to watch that one. No, that's not the case. And I don't know if he's gotten any better, but I think he sounded wooden the first couple of weeks. And that was the best he's ever been on television, was that particular clip.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, came out there just being honest as could be.
And
Now
he's right. He's right. He came out ripping quarterbacks earlier this year because they are soft. But where does that come from? That's from the college game. No one plays a pro system in college anymore. It's okay. They know the other side, there's not as many good defensive players. So what do? You spread the field. You get a kid who can run the ball a lot, and maybe they can complete some passes. That's what you look for. So they come into the league unprepared, and they have to play right away because they're on their rookie deals. I'm going to say one thing. Is it Jaden Daniels?
yeah, he sucks.
I 100% disagree with you. That kid can play. That kid can play.
What if they get with the winning record?
I don't care. The kid can play. Washington was the second worst team. Washington was the second worst team in the league last year. They're going to win division. They're going to win. They are going to win the NFC East this year.
The NFC East, first off, blows.
I don't care. He can play. That kid can play. That kid can play.
I've watched him. He doesn't do much of anything for me. And the same thing with Williams. He doesn't do anything for me.
So it's me against you and X. That kid can play. Absolutely, he can play. And I'll tell you what, he can really throw the ball on target. He's a good thrower of the ball. He really is.
I think you get caught up a little bit too much into the hype, Grump.
I watch his games. I watch
him play as well.
Good. You don't watch him play.
I do, Grump.
You don't watch him play.
I do watch him.
You absolutely do not.
We'll talk more about. We'll pull up a little bit for him here in a second. I wanted to first talk a little bit about Christian McCaffrey, a guy to start the season where maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. You know, he was kind of like there was some sort of shroud of like injury issue that may be over the top or hanging over his head. Well, we found out a few weeks ago, and again, we haven't had a show in a while, so we're giving all the updates. Christian McCaffrey had Achilles tendonitis in both of his legs. I think he's in Germany trying to undergo treatment for this very rare Achilles tendonitis in both of his legs. Never again, like it's called bilateral Achilles tendonitis. I don't know.
I don't think he'll play this year.
You think he ever plays again?
I think he'll play again.
Once you start getting tendonitis like that in your Achilles, that doesn't get better over time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know.
I don't know if he's ever going to play again.
I think he'll try to come back, but
I don't know. When I saw this, I'm just like, yikes.
So I just want to make sure you're on the record. You and X think that Daniel sucks, and I think
no. Here's the thing. I'm not saying he sucks. I just don't think right now.
He's not winning their team a Super Bowl. That's not happening.
Now, what do we keep hearing about Jaden Daniels? I know it's real early, but he could possibly be the MVP of the league.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying that.
Listen, I'm telling you what my thoughts are, and X, and I'll let you respond here in a second, X. I'll let you respond in the second, X. I'm telling you what my thoughts are. You're hearing he may be the MVP of the league. Oh, this looks like a guy who's definitely going to win the Rookie of the Year. I keep hearing over and over and over again, things like that.
That's not what I said.
If it wasn't for Brian Thomas pounding the ball on Brian Robinson, I'm sorry, creating a lot of yards there on the run, making it to where you've got to stack more guys in the box. I don't think he's all that special.
Brian Robinson's been out. He's missed the last 3 weeks. This kid can play.
You're wrong. He just missed today. He hadn't missed the last 3 weeks. He just missed.
He did. Austin Eckler's been the starter the last 3 weeks.
Really? Brian Robinson has missed the last 3 weeks. Let's just pull that up because you're wrong.
He went out in game 2 weeks ago. He went out in game 2 weeks ago.
We'll
he missed this week and he missed this week.
Don't worry. We'll pull it up. He missed this week.
Missed this week against Cleveland.
That's correct. This is the only game he missed.
Points in fantasy last week.
Fantasy points. Here we go. Fantasy points. I care about. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm not talking about league MVP. I'm not talking about Super Bowl. All I say is this kid can play. He's going to be a player in this league.
Last week.
Injuries, 7 carries. So he touched the ball 7
You're wrong. He had 12 carries. He had 12 carries and 3 receptions.
Okay. I'm just going to say that Jalen Daniels is a player.
Jaden Daniels, not Jalen.
Jaden. The Daniels kid. If you're Washington, you're ecstatic. Injury.
He has not beaten a team with a winning record.
Whoop-de-doo. There's a lot of teams that haven't beaten teams with winning records.
My point exactly. And usually they're shitty teams.
Okay. They're 4-2.
Haven't beaten a team.
They're 4-2, and they're winning their division. They will make playoffs. They will win division. And let me tell you something. That kid's good. That kid's good. I want the two of you to eat a big shit sandwich when he turns out to be a really good player.
Okay, when he doesn't win a Super Bowl at all,
I'm not talking
and
about
he's just as good as Lamar Jackson, who you think sucks ass, then I don't want to hear.
He's
shit.
a better thrower of the ball than Lamar Jackson
just as
is.
good as Lamar Jackson. Because
He's-
guess what?
he's-
Both of them won't have a Super Bowl.
He's a way better
both will
thrower.
be just as good as Lamar Jackson.
He's a way better.
Just as good as Lamar.
He's a way better thrower of the
Lamar
football.
2.0.
Shut up. He's a way better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
Period.
2.0.
Period. Way better.
Lamar Jackson.
Way
2.0.
better. You're wrong. You don't know anything about football. You didn't even watch the sport till 2 years ago. I don't know what you're even talking about. It's
Okay,
like,
Grump,
it's like
Grump,
watching
Grump.
football with a 2-year-old.
I guess Brock
It's
Purdy's
like-
the best quarterback to ever
it's like-
grace the field
it's-
because, well, you know, he's just as
Watching
good.
football with X is like watching football with a 2-year-old who just caught, wow, look at the fancy colors on the screen.
He's got only 6 passing touchdowns in 6 starts. You think that's good? You think, hold on, stop, X. You think that's good? You think that's good? That's going to be great college quarterback?
I think he's going. I think he threw
That's
2
good.
today.
No. Very simple question.
Yeah, I
Since
think
he
I
started-
think he's a player. I think he's a
Since
real
he
player in
started
this
6
league.
passing touchdowns. That's good. A
He's a
passing
real player
touchdown
in
a
this
game is
league.
good. That's like
He's
Teddy
a real
Bridgewater
player.
good.
I'm telling you, he's a real player in this league. And if he
Okay.
doesn't get hurt, watch out. The kid can
Oh
throw
my
the ball.
God.
Period. That's what I look. Can you throw the ball? Are you a runner or are you a passer? He can run, but you know what? What you've seen is the evolution of the offense after
Oh
this
my
first
God.
2 weeks.
This
He's throwing the ball more.
Newsflash.
And he's
News-
accurate as hell. What's the
Newsflash.
completion percentage?
Newsflash. I don't care.
75%?
Don't care.
Okay. You don't care.
Newsflash.
I do.
Newsflash. Here's what happens. Quarterbacks that are run first, what is always the thing you notice?
He's not run first.
Listen, he is. He is.
20%
Listen.
snaps.
Listen. He's a guy who looks to scramble and use his feet more often than sit in the pocket and throw. He is. How many rushes does he have this season, Grumpy, in 6 games? He's carried the ball 63 times in 6 games. He's averaging over 10. Hold on, stop. I'm going to make a point.
Well, how many has he carried the last 2 games?
Grumpy, in 6 games, he's got over 10 carries a game.
But he ran
You're
more
trying
the
to tell me
first
he's not a
couple
run
weeks.
first guy? What are you talking about?
I know he ran the ball 16 times the first week, and he ran the ball at least 10 or 12 times the second week. The number's going down because he's able to play better in the offense.
He had 10 carries. He had 6 carries.
6 and 11.
Against
He's
Cleveland
17 carries in the last 2 games. Okay, believe it or not, he's a run first guy. I'm going to keep telling you that. When you're averaging 10 rushes a game, you're running. Your brain's thinking, run. The same thing Lamar Jackson does.
He
Here's
stays
the
in
thing.
the pocket and he runs when there's pressure. He's
Quarter-
good. He's good. I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want the show to go too long. All I'm saying is that kid's
You
going to
just
be a
stop
player.
talking. I want to get to a point. So that's
Finally
what
get
I
to
want
it.
to make.
Get to it, Kamala Harris. Don't give me some freaking
Listen,
word
Grumpy.
salad.
Wait a
Just
minute.
get to the point.
We got beep, beep, beep. I had to mute him next. Here's the thing, Grump. As I told you before, what is the thing that you always notice for guys who are run first? Now you've muted yourself, Grumpy. What's the thing you always notice with run first quarterbacks? Their first season usually is the best season they play. Lamar Jackson, his first season. Oh, so fantastic. That's when he had the most passing touchdowns he ever had. That's when he had the most passing yards he ever had. You want to know why? Again, it takes a while for these defenses to start picking up the tendencies. Then, oh, gotcha. You're scrambling the ball. You're not getting so many yards. So when you try to scramble, oh, shit, you're starting to take a few more hits, which means you really got to sit back there in the pocket once they start to compile some game film on you. It's going to be the same thing with this kid. Everybody who's a run-first quarterback always does this. It's the reason the guys who are mobile, who sit in the pocket, your Patrick Mahomes, your guys like Josh Allen, who rather sit in the pocket and deliver the ball, last longer, and are better QBs. Same thing with the Justin Herberts. They much rather sit in the ball and make the pass, but they also have the speed and ability. Jaden Daniels is looking to run, and it's what's going to take him out of the league. Anthony Richardson's another perfect example. Last year, whoa, Richardson, so great. Took him 5 games to pick up enough film on this guy where he sucks.
You got Patrick Mahomes. His first year, he was running all over the damn place.
Patrick
You know what?
Mahomes
The
is
fact
on 0.09% of all of his snaps. That's bullshit.
Okay, as a rookie, I'm talking
Over
about
his career.
I'm talking about what you see.
I'll pull it up.
But
I'll
here's
pull
the
it up.
thing. Here's the thing.
Sure.
Guys who are accurate, those are the guys, not Anthony Richardson. He's not accurate. Not Lamar Jackson. He's not accurate. This kid's accurate. Patrick Mahomes, accurate. That's why those guys can transition from that game, because they all get taught that in college now. They all do. And they
Patrick-
fall back to it until they learn the game.
Patrick Mahomes, in his first full season, he played 16 games for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 75 carries throughout the entire first season. Jaden Daniels, through 6 games, had 63 rushes already. I'm going to say that he's going to probably double what Mahomes' rushes are. He's much more of a running quarterback than a guy like Mahomes.
You can admit Kansas City was a way better offensive team than Washington is this year. They were a team that made the playoffs the year before when they drafted him, and he sat behind Alex Smith.
Sure.
Right. So he came into a ready-made offense. Washington's not a ready-made offense. All I'm saying is that the Daniels kid can play. That's all I said. He can play. That's all I said. And you, of course, take it to some ridiculous level. The kid can play. Now you got me rooting for him. You got me hoping he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time so I could jam it up your ass sideways.
I've seen him throw the football. I've seen him play. He's how many times is he just throwing to open receivers? And that's good. You got to hit your open receivers. That's not going to last forever.
They don't have any good receivers. They got Terry McLaurin. That's it. Everybody else is a ham and egger. He's not throwing to Tyreek Hill. He's not throwing to Travis Kelce. He's not throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster or whoever they used to have back in the day, McCole Hardman. He's not throwing to those guys. He doesn't have that type of weapons. The kid's good. That's all I'm saying, and he can play.
Okay.
He's certainly been the best rookie quarterback in the league this year by far.
Let's revisit this. I don't know, 10 weeks from now. I'd be more than happy to.
They've already clinched division. That's fine.
Don't worry. Whenever they play a team with a winning record, it ends up with an L. So
that could be true. That's true.
I love the job. I tell you what. I mean, they lost by 7 points to Baltimore at home, and in Baltimore today. I thought the kid played well today. For a rookie quarterback against that defense, I thought he played extremely well today.
They had that late touchdown.
Quarterback than Jackson because he's accurate. He throws the ball. He's good.
Would it shock you to know that Lamar Jackson had a higher completion percentage and more passing yards?
I don't care.
Daniels?
I don't care. I don't care what Jackson did today. I've watched him over his career. He's not accurate. He's not accurate.
Lamar Jackson's a 68% completion percentage, and J.D. Daniels has a 73. It's not that much.
So he's almost completing 75% of his passes to that crap bag offensive team that he has. Good for him. I think he can play. That's all I said. And of course, you all took it to some ridiculous extreme. I think the kid can play.
Will eventually end up getting hurt.
Oh my God, X knows nothing.
I don't care. Listen,
great, man.
X, I don't care. I don't care about the injuries. Injuries happen. He's just not a good QB.
Okay.
He's not.
Okay.
Again, I'm not wrong on QBs. Never am. Never will be.
Okay. Right. Kenny Pickett.
I never said Kenny Pickett was going to be good. You can go back and
listen. Say he was going to be good.
You're
wrong.
On
record saying he was going to be good.
You're wrong. You can go back and listen to the draft day analysis.
I don't need to. The people in the comments will tell us.
Okay. You want me to re-pull that back up so you can be proven wrong again? You want that again, Grumpy?
They know the line.
Oh, yeah. Tell us not to pull it up because you're wrong.
Let's get to some more comments.
Some comments, please. Comments.
JP says, is that Frank dude doing that on the effing train?
I don't know where he is. It sounded like he was still in Barstool.
JP says, my name is Kazu Matsui and I love New York.
Continue along here.
He says, whose legacy in New York sports history will be looked upon more glowingly with all that they will able to accomplish, Max Scherzer or Robert Saleh? Neither one. They'll be afterthoughts. I don't even think people realize that 5 years from now, when he goes into the Hall of Fame, you know what they're going to say? Oh, yeah. Gosh, he played for the Mets?
Oh, dude, you're not going to actually show the video.
No, Will. Yeah. Gingren said, interesting. Which product leads to a greater sports skill? Mayo and coffee a la Will Levis or Vaseline a la Stephon Marbury, Grump?
Next comment.
Grumpy, do you think the reason that Will Levis has struggled this year throwing the football is because he has not been having enough mayonnaise in his coffee because you ridiculed him from that last year, Grumpy?
I just think that he's not real bright.
He's a shitty quarterback. He's a bad quarterback, like I told you before. Bad quarterback.
Again, he's another guy with no weapons and no offensive line.
Oh my God, sucks.
He keeps making the same dumb mistake over and over again. Sometimes just eat the ball. Just eat.
Well, let's take a look here at this.
I didn't.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Now, the injuries are starting to mount for the Chiefs. Go ahead, Grump.
Okay. Can I just say one thing? I didn't used to hate Patrick Mahomes, but since I had Rashid Rice on 2 of my fantasy teams, including in the Money League, and this piece of shit knocks him out for the year, I'm pissed at him. I don't like him now.
Okay, well, thank you for ruining what we're going to talk about.
Everyone knows what happened.
Rashid Rice. Now, again, he's out for, I think, this season, at least the regular season, maybe having a chance to return back in the postseason.
No, he's out for the season.
Out for the year.
Oh, after the year?
More damage than they thought.
He got a second assessment.
Okay, more damage than what they thought. Anyway, the injuries are starting to pile up for the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs are still getting some questionable calls, as always. I like Patrick Mahomes. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he struggled this year. And here's the thing, right? Doesn't have as many weapons. I wonder if we're just seeing what Patrick Mahomes is, right? He always, to start his career off, had Tyreek Hill, who's probably going to be a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver at this point, as long as he doesn't go Antonio Brown crazy out of nowhere. And you had Travis Kelce, who's going to be a Hall of Fame tight end. You had 2 Hall of Fame receivers to start your career off. And I think Kelce's finished. He's done. He's a shell of what he used to be. And he doesn't have a guy like Tyreek Hill. And he destroys the knee here of Rashid Rice. So, again, like I think that what we're seeing from Mahomes.
Watch him get this.
He's just done. Now, it's friendly fire. That Rashid Rice out of the season here on Mahomes trying to make a tackle and interception that he threw.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, more bad news. Aiden Hutchinson went off with a gruesome leg injury today.
Ooh. What's that? How bad? Broken leg, Grumpy?
The knee, leg, something.
Bad. Won't be seeing him anytime soon.
Yeah.
I know he just got himself a commercial for doing some type of yoga thing. He won't be doing that anymore.
I want to watch this here. The one team I'm loving to hate right now is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm loving to hate the Steelers, and I will continue to hate the Steelers as long as I can. Another one, for example, remember how great Justin Fields was? Oh, Justin Fields so great. He's so this. Justin Fields blows. I know they're getting a few wins here in Pittsburgh, but again, he's looked awful for the Steelers. Simple as that. Today, 14 for 24 with 145 yards passing, no touchdowns. But boy, oh boy, can that guy scramble and run the football. That's not what I need for my quarterback. I need a quarterback who's comfortable sitting in the pocket and dissecting a defense and throwing the ball down the field. Now, this is what happened after they were losing, after they actually lost, to the Dallas Cowboys last week. Look at this by George Pickens. Look at this shit. I'm telling you, I don't know what your thoughts are on something like this. Game's over.
Okay.
And he yanked his face mask.
Number 2 taunting him, first of all. Again, nothing good ever comes when you start taunting guys. I got no sympathy for the Dallas guy at all. He was talking shit to Pickens. Should Pickens have did what he did? No, he shouldn't have. But the guy went up and was talking shit. You get what you get.
Sounds like somebody needs to go ahead and yank Pickens' face mask right off and beat him to a pulp, Grumpy.
The only thing would have been better if he would have broke his neck. He won't be able to play anymore because he won't be talking shit if he's got to breathe out of a tube.
Here's the thing, Grumpy. You're just a little upset. You're just a little upset. That's all it is, Grumpy. Pickens blows. I mean, like he's like after the hype, after what we saw from Pickens. What have you thought of Pickens here recently?
He was mouthing off. I'm not getting enough targets. I'm not getting this. Okay, dude, your team is winning. I know they're not good. But here's the thing. Mike Tomlin never had a losing record his entire coaching career.
And they're winning games. Go ahead.
He's won one Super Bowl? They said he won 1 or 2. I don't know if he's won 1 or 2. But I know he's won a Super Bowl at least. That guy can coach. And the team has buy-in because they are not a good offensive team. They're just not.
Yeah. They're bad.
Somehow they managed to win games. Would it stun me? You said they were going to be a bad team this year, did you not?
I did.
And what did I say?
They're going to win.
Absolutely. They're going to win that division. Somehow they're going to win that division.
And they're
Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how it's done. Somehow they're going to win that division.
I don't understand it. It really defies the laws that I would consider.
He's a great head coach.
He's a great coach. Mike Tomlin's a fantastic coach.
And here's the thing. He did not get props from me for years because he couldn't beat the Patriots. The Patriots beat them every single year when it mattered. They just lost. They could not beat them. So it diminished him in my eyes because they couldn't beat the Patriots. I was 100% wrong on him. He's a tremendous head coach.
I will say, right, I will reserve some judgment, at least from judging the Steelers. The Steelers have played the Falcons, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Colts, the Cowboys, and the Raiders. I'm going to say all of those teams, maybe except the Chargers will have a losing record at the end of the season.
You realize Denver's been playing much better after the first couple.
How did Denver play today? Yeah, they got killed. They got killed. They got
23-16. That's not getting killed. 23-16 is not getting killed.
23-16 right now.
23-16.
Okay, Chargers.
23
okay.
okay.
Chargers let off the gas. Let's be honest. It was 20-0.
Okay, hold on. It was 23-0, and they've scored a whole bunch of garbage points here.
Exactly.
They've had 16 points in the fourth quarter. Are you kidding me? It's a whole bunch of garbage points.
Can I just tell you something? Watching today's Steelers-Raiders game gave me throwback chills back to the 1970s when they were playing every year, it seemed like, for the AFC Championship. Those two uniforms together just look fantastic when they're playing on the field. They just do.
Okay.
Steelers won 32-13.
The game is over, by the way, between the Chargers and the Broncos. They've got 50-something seconds left, and the Chargers had the ball.
Another flag.
They just said, we're happy just to go ahead and keep a 23-0 lead, and we just want to make sure we manage the clock. That's all they did. Ran the ball. They stacked everybody in the box. The Broncos stopped the run, and then they started trying to throw the ball as the Chargers played prevent. The Broncos were manhandled today. They're dominated. Simple as that. X, what other comments do we have here?
Johnny Mac, thank you for the shirt. Just want to make sure I wore it for you. Great shirt, by the way. Great shirt. It says, Grump, that 88 series with the Dodgers still hurts. That's the one. If you're a Mets fan, that's the one. They were the best team, and that's the one. Gooden was dealing, and the Socha home run ruined that series, absolutely. Of course, my dad is a Dodgers fan, so he never lets me forget about 1988.
Other comments here, X.
My little brownie says, well, how much time do you give a coach when they don't have much to work with? Can't put lipstick on a pig.
I think you're talking about Patrick Wall there on that side.
JP says, I agree with Grumpy there. Daniels will eventually be a really good quarterback.
No shot.
Okay.
None.
Frank from Empire State says, man, the Cowboys getting destroyed at home.
Cowboys are done.
He's like, the Cowboys are not very good. Detroit is a good team, but man, that's a big injury for them.
Oh yeah.
It's like losing Lawrence Taylor for old-time Giants fans.
Oh yeah, just compared Aiden Hutchinson to Lawrence.
I'm just saying the best defensive player on the team.
No more. We don't have limited time. Next, Grumpy. Next, X.
He's NFL sack leader this year. You can't say Aiden Hutchinson is not a good player.
He's not Lawrence. He's not going to be compared to Lawrence Taylor. Next, X.
I'm just saying it's similar to losing a player of that caliber. It's devastating for your team. Drew says, yeah, I agree with Grumpy. Jaden Daniels is good.
Next.
Drew also adds, TJ's such a liar. Dude always said Pickett was going to be a good, yet he can't even beat out Jalen Hurts for his starting job. Crying tears. Woo-hoo!
Next comment, X.
Freedom Front Adventure says, good evening, TJ the Tyrant, Grumpy, and Prodigal Son X. You would get the reference if your heathen self ever went to church. They give you free wine, you know. After 2 games, looks like the Islanders need a fire sale.
All righty. Next.
Fun Adventure adds, Grumpy, you're a movie buff. Name actors that enjoyed long career as supporting actor, but could never carry a film show by themselves. Must help TJ and X get better with no stardom. Okay, so I would say, if they were really good, you're probably talking character actors. Guys like J.T. Walsh was a character actor. You always remember him in the roles that he's in. There's a myriad of guys who couldn't carry their own movie. Christopher Walken couldn't carry his own movie, really. You got the big stars like your Pacinos, your De Niros, for modern day DiCaprio and Matt Damon, I guess. But there's so few today who are just supporting actors. But him when you see him. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. He's always good in that role, but he can't carry a movie. A lot of guys like that. Drew says, who just got Karl Anthony Towns? The New York Knicks. Did they need him though? I don't know. He's kind of soft. I mean, weren't they better defensively without him? I don't know.
Did want to put this up here too. Interesting, you might see Patrick Mahomes' numbers this season compared to Daniel Jones. And again, this is from a week ago.
I'm glad you mentioned this.
Not good.
Okay, Patrick Mahomes has not been good this year, but you know what? You know what he does? His team's 5-0, regardless if the officials help him or not, or regardless of who they played and they get all the home games against good teams. In big moments, he performs.
Or
That's
he's given multiple opportunities to perform.
okay, but that's what sets him apart. That's what makes you a great quarterback. You can have a crappy game, but in the big moments, you put your team over the finish
You
line.
realize they should have 3 losses this year, right?
Okay, but they don't. They're
Okay.
5-0.
Was Patrick Mahomes performing when Isaiah Likely's foot was out of bounds? Was that Patrick Mahomes performing?
But-
was he performing when they called a pass interference penalty against the Bengals,
Oh my God.
which let them which let them have a fresh set of downs to drive down the field and score? Was he performing where their guys pass interfered against Atlanta and Kyle Pitts the end zone when they would have absolutely punched in a touchdown from the 1-yard line? I'm just saying they should have 3 losses this year and they don't due to circumstances.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's not Patrick Mahomes performing. It's not.
Okay. So the Chiefs are 5-0 without performing well. I think if you look at the NFL, you got tier 1 is the Chiefs. There is no tier 2.
Tier 1 is the officials.
Because
that's who's tier 1.
Tier 1 is the officials. There you go.
That's
Good one,
who tier
X.
1 is. Let's be honest.
Tier 1's the Chiefs. There is no tier 2. Then tier 3 is like teams like Detroit before, the Lawrence Taylor type injury to Aiden Hutchinson, and guys like that. I think Kansas City is infinitely better than everybody else in the league. Their defense is really, really good. They've kept the coaching staff together. Spagnuolo wasn't a good head coach, but a really good defensive coordinator. That defense is really good. And Mahomes is that good. Because, yes, Rice is out for the year. Kelsey is absolutely slowed down. All of a sudden, Juju Smith-Schuster looks like he's reinvigorated to what he was when he played in Pittsburgh for some reason. You got the Worthy kid who's showing he can produce. They're going to be a tough team to beat. That's all I'm going to say. They're going to be a tough team to beat. My little brownie says.
I think really quickly, I think that Mahomes has not been good this year. I will be very interested to see what continues to happen as his supporting cast and crew has been spectacular his early years in his career. What are we going to see when that's no longer the case, where it is currently?
Yeah, well, he's not Brady. I don't care who says it. He's never going to be Brady. But I'll tell you what, he's good, damn good. Matter of fact, there's a comment I want to read before my little brownies. Drew says, just hearing X, I can tell he doesn't have any knowledge of football.
Said no one ever.
So
I think that's what Drew just said. X dun dun dun.
Said no one ever. You forgot to put that in at the end.
Milo Brownie says, Grump, you think Deion Sanders is building his experience to eventually coach an NFL team? Would he make a solid coach, you think? No. I think he took the job in Colorado so he'd get his kid drafted. He's the ultimate daddy ball coach. He would never be a good coach in the NFL. He's a fool.
I think, yeah, I think the issue with him is just like you watch the games, and they're always, first off, like I like emotional coaches. Anytime something goes wrong, complaining, bitching, and moaning. Like the 4th down, like I watched the end of that game, and they were looking for a call, just like he was flabbergasted that they didn't get that call on the potential pass interference. The announcers, I think they're easy to hate Colorado because they just cannot stop talking about how fantastic Shedeur Sanders is and how fantastic Colorado is. I'm like, they're such a flawed team. They can't run the football. Their defense is porous at best. They brought in, you look at how much turnover they had. They had the most transfers in and transfers out using the transfer portal list last season. And their team's record is like 4-2. Again, they play no one. They played nobody the year before. It takes a while to build a team but I just like, at least with Deion, the favoritism has to go if he ever wanted to move on to coach someplace else. I don't think, right, like you look at it, Norvell has been awful for Florida State this season. Awful. DJ Uiagalelei, terrible. They hitched the team.
No one knows what you're talking about. Just get to the point.
Long story short, I don't think he's going to do any other coaching outside of this. Maybe he goes to Florida State to coach his alma mater. I don't see him possibly coaching in the NFL at this point.
He won't make a good coach. And just a comparison between, Mahomes stats and Daniel Jones stats. That's why you have to actually look at games. And numbers don't mean everything. That's why I like to tell the Moreau boys, you can't just look at numbers. You just can't do it. Drew says, outside of week 1, Daniel Jones' only interception was off a Hail Mary, and the Giants sucked this year. Frank from Empire State says, TJ, you should be seriously get your brain inspected. Daniels is a great quarterback already. All he does is win, and this is coming from a millennial who thought Pickett was the next Joe Montana. How'd that work out?
Yeah, actually, he was the next Tom Brady. Is that what I said?
You said he was going to be you said he was going to be a good quarterback in the league. You absolutely did.
That's not right.
Freedom Fund Adventure adds, X, next comment, please. I'm in full draft mode now for my NFL and NHL teams already. You guys order your Giants Sanders jerseys yet? Anyone who drafts Shedeur Sanders is making a mistake. He will not be any good in the pros. You're seeing now the Colorado, when they're talking about Colorado, they're talking about the Hunter kid. They're not talking about him as much. It's about Travis Hunter.
I did want to go ahead and showcase here too, Grumpy. I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch. Right, Jordan Love is one of these guys that he's fantastic. Jordan Love this, Jordan Love that. Simple as this. I've not been enamored with what I've seen from Jordan Love. Right, like these just. Was that Grump?
I think he's a good quarterback.
All righty, I'll let you watch.
Lucky 44, lucky 44.
Point now, Owen Papo. On 3rd and 4, here comes the blitz. Gardeck providing the pressure. Love lofts it up. Oh, what an adjustment! Romeo Dobbs.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, so you don't think that's a good play? Who did he throw the ball? Who did he throw? He plays the guy that's one-on-one.
Awful decision. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Are you trying to say that? And you look online. Oh man, he's so great. He's like a mixture between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry.
What I said
is you just throwing off your back foot and heaving it up and hoping and praying to God that your receiver comes down with the ball. Your wideout's not looking. You have no idea.
The wideout was looking. He was looking at the wideout. The cornerback wasn't looking though.
He's not looking at this point, Grump. He's not looking when the ball is released. He's just throwing it to a fucking spot and hoping his guy comes down with the ball. Yeah, the corner is lost in no man's land.
Because he didn't ever look.
Attention. No, he looks up, but he doesn't locate the ball. Look, he looks up. It's a shitty low percentage pass.
Okay,
those get picked. When you play against good teams and not the shitty Arizona Cardinals, those get intercepted. And we're like, wow, what happened? Jordan Love threw 4 interceptions today and had no touchdowns. I wonder why that happened. Because he gets away with that against shitty teams and shitty competition. Bad quarterback. Bad quarterback. I don't know what else I can say. Bad quarterback. And again, they're enamored with him too. I just don't like what I've seen from Jordan Love.
I disagree. I think he's a good quarterback. I mean, who are you comparing him to? I mean, in today's NFL, he's a good quarterback.
Brock Purdy's better than him. Brock Purdy's better than him.
Purdy fucking sucks. Brock Purdy sucks. I can't even watch that kid play.
Yeah, okay.
With that system, I could be quarterback. With that system.
Okay.
My arm's just as good as his is at this stage.
Oh man, sure it is. I don't know if you had a chance to watch some of the Bears too, and again, like the mishaps that we're seeing over here in the UK.
Those 9:30 in the morning games. That's too early for me.
Look at this. Oh my God. And yikes. Again, I thought Caleb Williams made a few okay throws today. He's another guy.
4 touchdowns today.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the touchdown passes?
Yeah, I did. I saw a couple of them. I'm just saying, a guy throws 4 touchdowns. That's not good enough for you. You'd rather have a guy look like shit. I remember that Kenny Pickett's first game, he threw 3 interceptions. You thought he was good. I remember you actually saying it on this show that he was good after throwing 3.
Don't worry. I'm pulling up the clip where we talk about Kenny Pickett so you could be proven wrong on this like you always are.
You said that 100 times. I need somebody else to send me a clip.
I'll just show you this clip.
Not you, where you're trying to manipulate your using AI to make it sound like you're saying something that you didn't say.
Can we all agree on something? Dak Prescott sucks. Could we please all agree on that he is a fraud and is terrible?
He shouldn't have got that contract extension.
He blows. I'm sorry. He will never win shit for the Cowboys. Never.
I agree. All right. Last couple comments. X. Here we go. Johnny Mack says, Grump, my hot Islanders take of the year. Wow will be one of the first 3 coaches fired this year. Lou finally gets fired at the end of the season. I think this is Lamoriello's last year. I could see, it's funny you mentioned that. I just looked at his press conferences the first 2 days. I'm like, he doesn't know what to do. And he doesn't know how to get through to these guys. And there's nothing to work with. And I think I think maybe I was thinking he could get fired, but I'm like, that would ruin him being the next GM take. So maybe he says, you know what? I'm going to step down. Lou Lamoriello is going to say that he has health issues or something. And, he'll just take over as GM and then a new coach will come in. But I've been underwhelmed at the Islanders the first 2 games, and they're going to lose tomorrow night to Colorado. Colorado's 0-2. I guarantee you they beat the Islanders tomorrow. Drew says, TJ, I got one question. Why are you just so miserable?
I'm not miserable. For
He's in
quarterback.
denial, Drew. Sounds like he's in denial about being miserable.
For quarterback play, again, quarterbacks have to be good. Simple as that. I need to have my quarterback play well. It's simple. It's the reason why when I told you guys years ahead of it before they signed Daniel Jones to that huge contract, what a bad decision that was. And again, few people were very happy about that. Few people were very upset. I was in the upset camp. And again, we've been proven to be correct on that. You don't hitch your wagon to a guy who's a mediocre or a below average quarterback. And that's unfortunately what we're seeing a lot of in the NFL right now.
So he's not answering the question why he's so miserable.
Not miserable.
We will move on. Freedom Fun Adventure says, Grumpy and X, please give us your thoughts on if TJ should coach sports and what kind of coach he would be. Would love the video of him exploding on the refs. There was a time when we coached Little League Baseball, 9 and 10-year-olds, and TJ thought it was like football camp. He treated them like, yeah, look, you got to run. He was running football drills. Gotta love TJ. Gotta love him.
All righty. I've got it pulled up here. I've got we can watch it one more time. And after this, we're done watching it forever and ever and ever and ever. Here it is, Grumpy. Remove that comment there, X. Look
how much hair TJ had back then.
Yeah.
Almost looks like a wig.
Goodness. Tells you all you need to know about the quarterback draft class. Last year was a much stronger quarterback draft class. And I mean, you think about all these teams that just completely skipped over them and you go,
You had 5 guys going to top 15 last year.
Other thing I worry about is too, right? If I could tell you one thing, Baker Mayfield's not the answer in Carolina, and Carolina's just further prolonging the mediocrity that they live in.
True.
I don't know why they didn't draft the quarterback last year, but hey, that puts them in the position they're in currently. They're still in a position looking for a quarterback, by the way. I hope they go well off the board. I hope Pittsburgh does. I hope they go well on the board in left field. I hope they don't draft a quarterback and make a really mind-numbing move. And they say Mason Rudolph's our guy.
But isn't that really a good spot for Pickett?
I think it's a good spot for him.
Franco Harris is waddled up onto the stage.
God.
This is being disingenuous.
He is old, Grump. How old is Franco Harris? 70s?
Damn old. No, I don't think he's in his 70s, but they're talking about the Immaculate Reception, which I hated. As a Raider fan back in the day, I hated that play. Hated it. Oh, my God. Please tell me you're not going to show it on the big screen, you piece of crap.
I'm not getting on with the freaking guys.
They have to stretch the show out. The teams are not buying in. They're picking.
I'm just putting it 2 times speed to get to exactly when he was drafted. Yanks win again. The Yankees win. What if I'm saying, did you guys see the Bailey goal? First thing I thought of is Grump is going to be through the roof. How does Bailey score a goal like that and suck the rest of the time? We haven't seen it. We've been live on the show since, but I'm sure it was a highlight reel goal.
Oh, man, he's old.
Is it typical that the Islanders win again against the Washington Capitals? My God.
It wasn't.
What about Pittsburgh? Doesn't have to go. Now his girlfriend's alive again.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll know.
Kenny is crying. His dad squeezed his neck. The dad's crying. Everyone's happy for Kenny Pickett. Come on, Kenny. Suck it up. All right, I'm going to tell you what. I don't like him as a quarterback. He's crying on national TV.
Yeah, you must hate Tom Brady because he's the ultimate freaking crier.
I don't see him crying. I just see him winning.
Yeah.
Winning. God. He's got his head still down. His girlfriend's hugging the dad. Everyone's cheering. Everybody except for Kenny. Where's Kenny's mom? I saw her over there before. It looks like she got knocked out of the way by the girlfriend. And the girlfriend's going, yeah, Kenny, how much is that contract worth? Should have won a few picks early. Could have made some more money.
Yeah. Well, I guess let me ask you this. How long until he's starter? So here's the thing. Kenny Pickett, I think the reason he dropped and slid so far down off the boards because he had small hands. He's a guy who's got a really, really high floor. The ceiling is questionable. I think it's higher than what Grumpy does. You look at a guy who is mobile. Kenny Pickett is mobile. Good 40-yard dash. He's quick.
He's not real big either.
6'2"?
Yeah, that's not real big for an NFL quarterback. I hate to tell you. He can move, though.
He's smart with his decision making in the pocket. He does a good job of reading the field. I know people criticize him for a little low Wonderlic score, but you look at the progressions he's had throughout his time frame, you know, with the
I don't
Panthers.
think so.
He's a guy who, you know, had a wide receiver core that dropped a lot of passes his
man,
sophomore
that's
and
not
junior
picking.
season.
They just showed that little okey doke move where he fakes going down in the ACC championship game, and then pulls up against and
Turn it
runs the
off.
rest of the way. And now they had to put a
Putting
rule,
everybody to sleep.
rule in effect that you
Turn it
can't do that.
Hold
anymore.
on, it's almost there.
But that's a good
Bro.
landing spot for Kenny Pickett, right? I mean, let's
Think
be
so, too.
honest. It's a stable
Hawk to us.
franchise.
Turn it
Pittsburgh,
off.
the Steelers.
What are you bitching about, X?
I said this hawk to us. Turn it off.
Hawk to it. Turn it off. You're not proving your point as usual.
Again, like you'll see if you continue to wait, you'll see.
We don't want to watch a rehash of you being wrong about Kenny Pickett again.
It
You
wasn't.
were talking about how he's missing this, he's missing this. I mean, I'm just surprised. I don't even want to say what you were doing under the desk with Kenny Pickett. Freedom Fund Adventure says, Grumpy and X, please give us your thoughts on it. Oh, we already read that comment, X.
X, pay the fuck attention. Next
Last
guy.
comment.
I'm sorry. That nonsense that we just listened to the last 45 minutes about putting me to sleep.
Drew did say, TJ, this clip literally proves nothing towards your point. That's typical TJ. That's him. He thinks when he's gushing on a guy, it's being negative. I don't know. Freedom Fund Adventure says, Drew says, Grumpy and that 49 system, Sam Darnold couldn't be the quarterback starter. He was never brought in to be the starter. He was brought in to be a backup. Drew says, TJ would be like Arthur Smith, freedom and emotional tyrant. Drew says, I know he's in denial, Grumpy. That's why I asked. LOL. See, everyone knows. Frank Empire says, can't believe all my teams, the Yankees, Jets, and Islanders, will be on TV at the same time tomorrow night. LOL. Milo Brown says, X, Champions League play next week. Thoughts on the matchups?
I mean, there's like a billion games that are going on now because they added additional teams in. I don't know. Do you want to pull up the matchups so we can highlight kind of the big games?
And I'll just, while you're pulling that up,
I want us now to go break down every game that's coming up here when we're at an hour and 45. I won't have time to do that there, X. Sorry.
Well, maybe just pull it up. I do just want to say I still don't understand the new format. I don't get it for the group stage. I don't get it. It's like you don't play every team home and away. There's 50. I don't know how many teams are in each group, but it's like, what are you doing? I don't even understand it, honestly.
You play a lot of different teams, and you're
how is that? No, I just don't understand how that's a group stage. Like Real Madrid plays Liverpool in Liverpool. They play Inter Milan at home. Inter Milan does not get a return match on their home soil. How does that? I don't understand how it works. I just don't understand.
That's the
they
way
made something that worked, and they turned it into something else to combat the Super League. That's what they did
to make more money.
All about money.
Gotcha.
Pretty soon you'll be seeing DraftKings sponsoring the Champions League.
Yep.
No righty, no worries. Well, let's wrap things up here today. I know we're going to have to go ahead and cut it a little short here today. We had a lot to cover and a short time to get there. But thank you, Grumpy and X, for being a part of the show as always. What do you want to say before we wrap things up here today?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ, the Grumpy Old Man, and Son X.
X, what do you want to talk about here before we leave? What do you want to say?
Thanks, everybody, getting in the comments. As always, love the interaction. We will see you guys next time.
Next time. Oh, well, here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and pop off. If you guys wanted to go ahead and cover the Champions League games, actually up on screen.
We're good. We're good. Tyrannical one. We're good. Don't worry.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys, for tuning in for the show. We'll talk more Champions League next podcast there. Thanks so much, Grumpy. Thanks so much, Son X. Thanks for all the comments there on that side. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Next time.